Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go check out my website at skysworld.com for life coaching and mentoring. I want to talk a little bit about my experience with addiction, how I conquered it. I'm not going to go into the war stories about how fucked up I was. That's one of the things that annoyed me about going to 12-step meetings, and I ended my 12-step process before I conquered my addiction. I conquered my addiction on my own. And I got frustrated with the 12-step meetings because people go in there and they tell these bullshit-ass war stories. I don't care whose dick you sucked for crack. I don't care what you did and how low you went. I just don't give a fuck about you and your experience. I don't care. I don't relate to it. It's not making me feel better. I would just sit in those meetings with my arms folded and just sit there and be like, this is bullshit and everybody in here sucks. This is not going to help me. I don't know why I'm here. So I decided not to go. I wasn't court ordered, so I decided not to go anymore. And I decided to do this on my own. That is the hardest, worst way to conquer addiction. I did it the hardest and the worst possible way that you can do it, but I accomplished it. I went sober February 13th, 2000. That's my sober date. That's the day I was born again into this world, that I started over. February 13th, 2000. I never had another hit of PCP, another hit of crack. I never had another drink, another sip. Not a drop of alcohol has touched my lips since February 13th, 2000. And I was a major alcoholic and drug addict. I used to rob people in the streets, and I could go on and on telling you all the craziness that I used to get involved with. And I stopped it all in one day. But my addiction, my fight to be sober, took me several years. But I stopped in one day, cold turkey, never went back, never one relapse, never a relapse. And I did it all through the power of choice, through willpower. It was torture. It was absolutely the hardest thing I ever had to do, and it sucked. And sometimes it still sucks. I've been sober, for a long time, 23 years. And I still have cravings. I still have temptations. During COVID, when we had the lockdown, it was brief here in Florida. You guys had it probably longer than we did, but we still had it. That was a hard time for me. I had a lot of temptations. But the power of choice will set you free. Choose to be free of your addiction. Choose to be free of slavery. Choose to shed the chains of that substance that you're using as an escape, as a vice. Now, my motivation was life. How did I just choose it? Well, I had a life or death choice. I was at the crossroads. The doctors literally told me, if you continue to abuse drugs and alcohol, you will die. This is not a joke. And I asked him, well, what am I going to do? And he said, well, you're going to go out of here, out of this office, and you're going to go right down the hall. This was in Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Beverly Hills. He said, you're going to go right down the hall, and you're going to get yourself on a list. I said, what kind of list? And he said, for a liver transplant. That's the only thing that might save you, is you might be able to get a liver transplant. This is serious stuff. He told me word for word. He said, the party's over, kid. You're going to die if you don't stop. And I don't tell this to everybody. And I went out of that office that day, back home, fridge full of beer, my little stash spots full of dope and full of drugs. And I just sat there just like, well, Jesus Christ, I did this to myself. I'm going to die. And I did it to myself. I'd always thought that I'd get shot in the streets by some enemy. Just like my dad. Just like most of the men in my family. But no, my worst enemy turned out to be me. The hitman who got the job to take me out was me. And apparently I'm successful at it. So I sat there and contemplated, and I made the choice, and I said, okay, I'm going to have to stop. And I don't want to. And I didn't want to. I didn't really feel like that my life was going so great. Oh, I gotta stay alive. I have people to take care of. People love me. I didn't really have any friends. I didn't have any kids. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have a girlfriend. My family hated me. What's the fucking point staying alive? I don't even think I had a job. I had nothing in my life. What's the point of being alive? But I chose life for some silly reason. I don't know why. Maybe that was the grace of God. I chose life. I chose to live. And that choice is why I'm still here. I choose that every single day. So you can go sober in one day. You can choose to. It'll be the hardest, most painful, most torturous, most miserable thing that you have ever tried to do. Every day will be torturous. From the second you wake up to the second you go to sleep, you will be in misery. And it will last for years, possibly forever. Sometimes I get so tempted, even now, 23 years sober, I get so tempted where I wish that I could just go to the bar. I wish that I could just go get a bag of Coke. Oh, what it would be like just to have one hit, just one hit of PCP, just one toke. It's utopia. It's heaven. I told myself one time as I was high off PCP, I want to feel like this all the time. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I gave it all up because of my own choice. The power of choice set me free. Now, I didn't do the 12-step process because I thought the 12-step process was stupid. I went to one AA meeting. I got a story about it on here, a video about it on here. It's pretty funny. It may work for you. The 12-step process may work for you. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. It doesn't hurt you. You can go to all the meetings 4 times a week for 10 years. It's not going to hurt you. You'll meet a bunch of friends. There's a bunch of slut chicks there that you'll probably be able to fuck if you're desperately lonely. Go to AA. Go to NA. You'll get all kinds of pussy. I didn't like it. I didn't like the 12 steps. I didn't like the person who created the 12-step process. I did some research on him. I thought it was kind of a cult. I didn't like that it was religious. I didn't like that there was no actual provable results when you ask, okay, well, who have you healed? Who has AA or NA ever actually healed? It's hard to find anybody. People come and they go and they stay in it for years and they get addicted to it and then they have a break. The meetings are excessively long and there's not much positive information or even useful information that you walk away from after a meeting. And people go outside during the break, smoke 2 packs of cigarettes. Every single person is sitting there with double fisting cups of coffee as fast as they can and smoking cigarettes. And you guys think you're beating addiction? You're addicted to AA. So I was rather soured on the whole experience, and I said, fuck this. I'm not doing this shit. I'll do this on my own. Most people can't do this. You won't probably be able to do it like I did it. You may not be strong enough. You have to be incredibly strong to make the choice and to put your foot down, even in the face of battle, when you're losing the battle, and all you want is to be in that state of pleasure and escape. You're so weak. I had no strength in me. I was not a strong person. And I used the last bit of energy I had to throw my shield up. But this is how you conquer addiction, no matter what process you take, whether it's a 12-step process or if you do it like me, like an idiot. If you go ask Jordan Peterson or any of these psychiatrists, they shake their head and they say, Sky, you did it the hardest, the worst, the most toxic, the most dangerous way that could have been done. It's a miracle that you accomplished it. I've been sober since February 13th, 2000, and I have not relapsed. And it's all by personal choice. I'm doing it all alone with no support. Nobody is saying, good job, Sky. Nobody cares. I realized that day one, that I'm going to do this and nobody's going to give a fuck. Nobody is going to care. Nobody cares if I die in the alleyway with a fucking needle in my neck. Nobody cares if I fucking survive. Nobody cares if I get a job and better my life. Nobody cares if I get better, if I heal. Nobody gives a flying fuck about me. So I'm going to do this alone. Like I do everything in my fucking life. I'm going to do it alone. I can't suggest that to you because it is incredibly difficult. You may not be able to do it. You're probably not strong enough. You'll probably fail. But that's how I did it. That's what worked for me. I've always been able to follow one thing, and that's that inner voice. When my inner voice says that's enough, I listen, no matter what. And if it's to end a relationship, if that voice says that's enough, I walk away. You'll never see me again. You'll hear my voice blowing in the wind. You won't fucking know what the fuck happened. When I say that's enough, when that inner voice tells me that's enough, Sky, it's over now. I'll leave town. You'll never see me again. You won't know what happened. It'll be like I never existed. When that voice in my head says that's enough, whatever my self-sabotage is at the moment ends. All my little bullshit, that little punk motherfucker from the streets that runs his mouth and thinks he knows everything, that little voice in my head, all of it stops when I hear that one voice say that's enough, Sky. And that's what stopped me. That's why I'm here. I don't know if this helps you. If you need help, get help. But you can stop today. You can stop right now. Food for thought.